how do we know what a malacha is? What's a malacha? What's an av malacha? What's a tolda? So we know the Mishnah tells us in the 7th parak of Shabbos that there are 39. That's what the Mishnah tells us in Zos number 5. Zoreach Horish, we go through all the processes. The first 11 are called Sidur de Pas, the way of making bread. And then there are other groups. Rav Ribiyat has them into 4 groups, building and the Gadim, but the Gemara only has it in the first. The first 11 are the Sidura de Pas. The first daf in Baba Kama tells us that there are avos malachos, mashma that there are toldos. The avos are the source, the fathers. Toldos are the offspring, the secondary. And though, the Gemara tells us, though there are avos and toldos in Shvius also, avos and toldos, in Shvius the toldos are d'Rabbanan. But in Shabbos, whether it's an av or it's a tolda, they're both, says the Gemara in Baba Kama Beis, source number 6. So what's the difference between an av and a tolda? Lamaisa, not how to define it. Rabbi Lazar says it depends if it was in the Mishkan. If it was in the Mishkan, we'll call it an av. Those are the ultimate Melachos activities that were in the Mishkan. Things that connect and resemble that act, but weren't in the Mishkan, that's going to be a tolda. So this is how we know there are avos and there are toldos. The Rambam says in his Pirush Mishnah is there in the 7th parak of Shabbos, Va'tolda hu shetachshov belibcha al tatzos pulas osam. The result of the act that you're doing, is it the same result? The same type of result? The Rambam tells us you have to define the act. Let's say grinding. So in the Mishkan they did certain types of grinding. But the Rambam says, what is the definition of grinding? As an example, you take a larger item and you pulverize it. You make it into a lot of little small items. That could apply to food, that could apply to wood, anything. That's the example the Rambam gives, the top of 251. Vinyan tochen hu tchinas chelik gadol va'afichaso l'chalakim ktanim. One large piece, and you cut it up into tiny pieces, into small pieces. Lefichach, chituch yirakos b'Shabbos. Dicing vegetables. Okay, we're not going to get into any details so much. We'll get to the malachas. But now we're talking about the principles. We'll always give examples to these principles. Nesiras ha'etz. If I cut wood, the sawdust that comes from the wood. O shifas mataches. Or if I cut metal very finely and I get little pieces. All of that are toldos of tochen. Bishul is cooking, but it's also softening something hard. So that Rambam says, if I cook metal, I'm chayav for bishul. You have to get to the root of the definition of the malacha, and then what was in the Mishkan was an av, and outside the Mishkan was a tolda.